like a motion to adopt the agenda as circulated. Thank you. Trustee Clayton.
Second.
Trustee Robert. Any comments on the agenda? No? All in favor? Thank you. The consent agenda, item D on your packet. The adoption minutes.
Moved.
Second. Okay. Any comments on the consent agenda? No? All in favor? Thank you. Report of the in-camera meeting. We had a lengthy discussion about property and personnel matters in camera. And then we have a delegation, active student travel. And Ian, you're going to introduce our guest?
I certainly am. So good evening, and thanks very much for allowing Angela and I to come up and have an opportunity to talk about active travel. Angela Holmes is our active travel program worker, has been working with the school district since the beginning of October, diligently attempting to move us along the active travel spectrum. And we're going to take a few minutes and just talk a little bit about the work that's been done to date.
So, greetings everyone. Thank you very much for having me tonight. I just wanted to point out that the definition of active travel, it's a journey that relies mostly on either walking or cycling or using your body for motion rather than using something that emits fumes. So anybody actively travel today, in and out of their day? Just quick show of hands. Good job. Anybody actively travel down the hallway from their office to this meeting? So the HASTE process is what is the model that we've been using here at the school district. Yeah, go ahead, Steve. And part of the reason behind it is because of traffic congestion at the schools. Go ahead, Ian. Now, the interesting thing with the traffic congestion is that often the kids are saying, well, Mom, why don't we actively travel? And the parents are saying, because there's too much traffic. So one of the goals of this whole process of HASTE is to remove the barriers that the parents have given us the feedback of. So in our year one, we have made our way through the setup stage, the data collection stage, we're in the action planning stage, and some things are already being implemented. This is some of the things that we've accomplished, and you can go ahead and switch. Thank you. Part of that accomplishment has to give the kudos to those municipal stakeholders that have been a part of this process right from the day one. I think even before this active travel came into this room as a theory, and they still are incredibly engaged right now, including the City of Courtenay, the Town of Comox, and the Regional District. In that first setup, we had major surveys go out. 900 families received them between the three different pilot schools, which are Cold Rock Road, Huban, Park Elementary, and Puntledge. Those surveys came back from the families, and again, we're trying to identify what are they doing now, getting the baseline, finding out why they are not actively traveling, either walking or cycling to school. If you could just go back one again. So yeah, the main reasons we're seeing here is that there usually is a convenience thing. They're either too far from home, they're on their way somewhere else. But the ones that we're able to try and have an impact on are things like traffic danger, personal safety issues, and the weather. Not really. Go ahead. I would allow my child to walk to school if, and again, there's things we can't control so much, but then these are the things we can work on, and they're usually in the top 3 items. So they did not walk alone, there was a safer, improved walking route, and there was reduced traffic dangers. So this information, go ahead, Ian, and we can skip through that one. This information came to us from the families. Then I brought that information to the stakeholders. We met on 3 walkabouts during the month of January. And these walkabouts were a really interactive process to get a hands-on feeling for what the kids are experiencing. We will walk through some potential best routes, and here we are around the Punlich neighborhood, and this is Ecolrod Road. So this is a typical scene, that lineup of cars, and interestingly enough, we'll just read that out, 58% of family respondents, this is a survey in October, said they're a one-car family driving to school. So there's not even a carpooling culture going on. So there's lots of room for change, lots of room for improvement there. Go ahead. Here's some great photos of our stakeholders in action. This again is during a walkabout. So the walkabout is out there on the routes identifying what are the hazards. This is a trail between Holly Place and Broad Road, which was going to be getting some attention really quick. Then we bring everybody back together, we debrief the information, and it goes on to some maps. Here's the draft best routes map. So the intention with this map, actually if you want to go to the next one, Ian, this one's a bit busy for people to enter on the big screen. So there's each of these maps for each one of the schools. This one is here for Hugh Van Park. So these maps, they came from the data from the parents, from local knowledge, plan development, bus routes, all of it's incorporated onto the best routes maps. That yellowy green line is actually routes that we as a stakeholder group have identified as this is what we want to make safe, this is what's looking the safest now. The ones with the arrows are routes that families are already taking. And you can see number one there. These maps are again a working process. Number one is saying a future crosswalk upgrade. That is a priority action item, and that's on Hugh Van and Monteshaw Road. And the great thing was we had the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure's engineer there, advisor officer there to give us that immediate feedback. This is the steps you need to take, and those steps are already in action. Go ahead. There's the Cola Road. You can just circle through. So not only is the stakeholder process at this greater municipal political level, but it's really, really key to get it happening at that school level. So here's a great picture of one of our parents and a group of students who were recognized because they have made a behavior change in the way they're getting to school, and they've been logging it on the physical activity logbook, which has been a really great success at Ecolrod Road and at Punlich. Another barrier that's been identified is it's not only intersections, but sometimes it's wildlife, particularly in the case of Huvan, which is an incredible property, 3 sides covered in bush. But then there's this fear, whether it's based on reality or not, it's a fear that came out in these surveys that parents are really concerned for the welfare of their kids because of big cougar cats. So I organized an assembly with Paula Wild, and she researched, amazing researcher on cougars, and she gave us some really positive feedback, helping the kids figuring out how to do their cougar thing. So they went away with that bit of information, education. The other thing that's coming out of this whole process is the parents want it. They're all saying, yes, this is a great, great thing. Go ahead, Ian. So it is happening. That movement within the parents is happening. The drop and go signs are getting put out regularly in front of the schools now. They're not ending up in the ditches. Kids are walking more often than not. This is here at Huvan. Well, that's my son and I. That's one of the ways we get to school, and we've been able to inspire people on a personal level. I've had 2 parents come up to me in the past week. One say that I'm actually moving from Denman Island to be closer to Punlich because of the active travel stuff that's happening. So they're really engaged and into it. Another parent lives in Royston, would drive her kids. She has 2. One in grade 1 and one in grade 5, but she would drive them both right up to the front door. And now she's made the shift to park on Woods and 5th, and they all walk down the hill together in Indigo. Oh, and sorry, just to go back 1 second. Was that the 10-minute bell? Okay.
Really close.
Okay. So community bike swap, that's the other cool thing, that another parent is really taking this initiative forward. She doesn't want to lose the momentum. a need and she's running with it. So I'm just facilitating that person along and whatever the school needs. So a community bike shop coming up, bike swap, coming up in April. Okay. The other great thing that's happening out of this project is community connections. And this was a piece that I anticipate happening at a stakeholder level. That's what really neat is it's happening at more of a grassroots level because of this concept of sustainability and being friendly to the environment. And so I'm able to network with all these different groups and get this whole idea of active travel into their plans. So there's this real connectivity in the community with active travel, and it's really exciting to see where it's going to go. Go ahead. So the process, just to summarize, we're in the action planning stage, so that's really compiling some documents, sending it back to the stakeholder groups, getting their feedback, we'll reprioritize, and then implement, and these student travel planning documents will be in each of the 3 pilot schools, again, Rock Road, Highland, and New Bend, by the end of May, as well as the best routes maps. So,
Cheers.
thank you.
Comments, questions?
Hi. Once you've set the foundation in those 3 pilot schools, what's your expansion forecast for the other schools? Are you going to do 3 more and then 3 more? Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's
That
definitely the
process?
idea. Because we're getting such a strong parent and student or school travel plan committee buy-in at this time, it'll make the shift into the next 3 schools even better. So one of the things I forgot to mention is that the great thing about this active travel program right now is it's already coming up as a solution. So for example, Miracle Beach School and Paulson Road, we're identifying active travel, getting that program in the school. So that'll be on my hit list. Miracle Beach will be up next year for sure. Yeah. Any other questions at all?
No, I just think the answer to Rick's question is it depends on us continuing to support it. But I really, this was it's near to my heart, and I just think Angela's been an incredible asset, and Ian's support for the process, and really making inroads in our relationship with the other municipalities, and how there's a document called active travel charter, which is sort of across Canada. And one of the things that it says is that when our streets are safe and comfortable for kids to travel, they're good for everybody. And I think the municipalities really see that putting the school travel as a priority is also really good for communities. It's great.
Thank you. And I'd echo that comment a little bit. The most magical thing in this process has been the connectedness and having all these different stakeholders come together without an agenda. To be able to be there around getting our kids on these best routes to school. And it's just been magical to work with the RCMP and regional district and engineering and planning departments with a real common goal. It's been fantastic. A great journey and really beneficial in many respects for the school district and the community.
So for me, it's parent education portion of it in that conversation with the parent community. Are you finding that once parents realize there's an alternative, it's a safe alternative, they're more willing to let the little darlings out of their eyesight? As I remember, parents have that from that door to the school, they don't want them out of that eyesight. So I'm just wondering how is that coming along, that fear of letting them go through this process?
That's a great question. I think we all know our kids are near and dear to us, and that's something that I'm still working on making that shift in those schools. That we will have a more definitive answer in October when I resurvey everybody. But just from those personal anecdotes, it is happening, but I'm still working on that. Yeah.
I think one of the big shifts will come as well when in September when the school kids all come to school with the best routes to school map at those 3 schools. And that's something they'll get mailed to them or delivered to them on the first day of school. Will be those maps that are up on the board there will be in a really nice 8.5 by 11 color with some instructions on the back to make sure that you look both ways when you cross the road and all those things that we forget about. you know, when we're maybe teaching our kids to do stuff, but they'll all come to school armed with that. When they go to those 3 schools, and the parents will have it, it'll be on city websites, so there'll be that kind of closing of the loop for a lot of families.
Trustee Gambicorda?
I live just 2 blocks from one of the pilot schools, and if I didn't know what was going on, I would be questioning because the cars are gone. And not hearing, you know, it used to be you'd see 1 or 2 parents and their own kids.
Right.
Now it's 5, 6, 7 kids giggling on their way to school, and very few parents. They're traveling in groups, and it's really amazing to see. Like, to tag on to yours, it's a lot of kids in groups on their own.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Trustee McDonald?
I think one of the, you know, the presentation really didn't mention how tailored it is to each school. And that process of getting parents and teachers and the staff in general and the kids thinking about the solution is really interesting. So a lot of us, we have both Puntledge and Rob Road are French immersion. We have an assumption that the kids are all coming from away. In Rob Road's case, it turned out the fact that they're within the walking limits. And the identification in each team of places that people can drop off and then get a short walk, blue thing. Angela's planning some signage to make sure that around each school people can see it, and each solution's really tailored, and it really brings some neat pieces out about, you know, just building some fitness into the route of every kid every day. It's great. It's good.
If I make a comment on the program, I think in the report card language significantly exceeds expectations. And if I could make a comment to the trustees, I think it's one of the best things we've done in our mandate. And further, remember, we have a draft set of expectations of a successful student, and one of them is that the student will be physically fit and knowledgeable about health because of experience, activities, contributing to a healthy life. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Education Committee report.
You don't have to stay.
So we see before the report, and we'd like to you know, it's really kind of neat to see that we were one of the very first districts to offer this, and through my attending Winter Council and our conference this past weekend, it says some other districts are following through, and the fact that students are really becoming part of this is quite wonderful. So I'm really glad to see that once again a leader in innovative ways supporting our students. You know, CLC is one of those programs that we really proud to do. There's a motion to receive my report.
Second.
Discussion, questions, comments? Call the question, all in favor? Thank you. And under strategic direction, Education Evolution Committee, we have not met, unfortunately. We will hopefully soon with the Corral trustee work. Educational update. Just to note, the superintendent is absent, little medical absence. Assistant Superintendent DeMayo, do you want to give the
Thank you.
superintendent's report?
Sure. Actually, I'd like to pass this over to Director Douglas, who will share some exciting work that our district's about to engage in with the ministry.
I wish you would have told me that just before I ate this mint. So we're one of the sites that will be reviewing the curriculum. So tomorrow we have a team gathered together, and it's a fairly large team. There's 10 to 12 people. We have representations at all levels, and we'll go through.
The people trying to get in the doors locked, so I just want to say something from the door. Sorry to bother you, but I just need to try to.
Give me a chance to get the mint down.
Although we have
So we have some focus questions from the ministry, and it's around the new curriculum, and it's around the competencies. It's, as you know, it's draft work right now. And the ministry is looking for feedback. Are they on the right track? Is the direction that we feel that we're going in? So our group will have a chance to spend the day looking at it. We'll be in 3 working groups, and we'll give our feedback on that work to the ministry, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Thank you. And the other thing is we're waiting to hear some more about some feedback from the ministry with regards to the graduation program and the next steps that takes and where we go with that. So, it's fun time.
Okay. And then the next item is the engaging our community committee. Trustee Grenham, Trustee Selby, who's reporting?
Okay, I'll be happy to do that. Engaging our community. One of the things we did talk about was the opportunity about bringing somebody in to go over a process about public relations and community engagement and how we can do that and how we can build a foundation and framework. And the Secretary Treasurer and Sherry, and I forget her last name, Moore Harbor, shared dinner on Friday night at the Vista Conference and had a discussion. And Sherry spoke to me on Saturday just to get a couple of things clear. And she is going away, and she is coming back, or will be sending back some recommendations on some strategies that we can use. However, she said to me, I believe you will probably want to use all the strategies rather than just pick and choose them. So at our next working committee, we'll lay those strategies out, and probably based on her recommendation, we'll probably tell her that we would like to include all of those, and then we'll have a determination about a working session for the board and other stakeholders as we see fit. That's our report.
Thank you. And the next item is the Relationships Committee, no report. Good news. Oh, beg your pardon?
I'd like to add that. So
Okay.
we actually did have a brief meeting the other day, and the committee is working really hard, and we'll have some more meetings. And one of the things the committee is looking at, and hopefully bring something forward, is acknowledging all those businesses and people that work with our district, and finding a way that we can to acknowledge them. We have many companies and individuals that for a number of years have supported the school district, and many of our students have benefited from that support. So as a committee, we want to acknowledge that, and so we're looking at a way of when you come into the board office of having some sort of wall to acknowledge those individuals and those businesses who have enhanced and enriched our district. So we did work on that. And the other one we talked about is engaging some of our really talented youth artists in the district, and providing some thank you cards and some way of, as we acknowledge people and visitors and that. So our assistant superintendent, Mr. DeMayo, there will be engaging some of the art teachers in the district to have that conversation and highlighting it and enhancing some of our students' work and sharing that. So that we had it the other day before the agenda setting. So that's what we've been working at, and we'll have hopefully more information at the next board meeting.
Okay. Next item is good news items from the assistant.
Sure. So you can see your agenda. There is the link is active for the Valley, your student, your educators, your community, and you saw a bit of that last time at the board meeting. So it's up now, and please visit it frequently. Some great stuff and a great example of the wonderful things that are going on in our school community. A couple of things that came in late that I would like to share with you. Our Navigate VEX robotics team, and this is, I think, a very appropriate name. It is Team 7842D. They won the provincial championships, and they are currently trying to make their way to the world championships in VEX robotics. This is a group of students from all over, Navigate students, and they meet. Sometimes they meet through online conversations if they get to the site. So it's not as easy as a lot of our schools in terms of getting that club together. but a phenomenal team and some great results. So they were just thrilled with their performance. So they won gold, and they're now pursuing the Worlds, which are held April 23rd to 26th in San Diego. Yeah, not a bad place to have your robotics championships. On the some other good news, Highland from Highland, the senior boys basketball team competed in the provincial championships last weekend and placed 9th. And Nick Tampon was selected to the All-Star team for that, so that's a huge accomplishment. The girls gymnastics team at Highland did very, very well, and so well they became provincial champions with 2 girls, Hannah Valavant and Lizzie Gummer, in the top 4 for individual results. So it's a huge accomplishment for those. And the note that I got from Highland is, please help us. We don't have any more room on our walls for all these recognitions. So I'm sure requests will be coming in to expand their wall recognition. And the past weekend, Highland was also the host for the regional DI championships. And I'm wondering if there's anyone here that actually was judging. Let's see, there was a few. So again, huge success, a lot going on. And the last thing I want to comment was a joint venture. You may have seen an article in the paper that involved all 3 high schools, and that was Operation Solid, which was a program that through Dr. Claire and the 3 high schools that put together a drama presentation for our grade 8 boys. It was phenomenal presentation, and it was so nice to see all 3 schools working together, the teachers and the students. An excellent production. So if you did get a chance, if you didn't get a chance, we're in the process of trying to get that videotaped so that we can have that for our records and to be using as a resource and to share with other folks. So once again, and that's only in a 2-week span from the last board meeting, so those wonderful things happening. So lots of great things happening in our district.
Okay.
Thank you.
And human resources, anything?
All right, so on page 17, I have a list of retirement and resignations, so I'm going to read. So Marina Mahavir, a teacher at Cuban Park, will retire at the end of June after 23 years of service with the district. Keith Wendell, a teacher at Valley View, will retire June 27th after 25 years of service with the district. Marty McCurrick, the elementary teacher librarian at the LRC, will retire June 30th after 26 years of service with the district. Lisette Bisson, a teacher at École Rob-Road, will retire June 30th after 22 years of service with the district. We have Martina Hawkins, the accounts clerk at Highland, has resigned after 4 years with the district. Barb Turner, behavior educational assistant, Cumberland Junior, after 14 years. She decided not to come back from leave. And Pat Stewart resigned March 11th after 10 years of service with the district to pursue other opportunities. So all of those retirements, those retirees will be honored at the board retirement function at the end of the year. That's my report.
Okay, thank you. And board committee reports. First, Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you see the report, the minutes from that meeting, and just an update on our budget process. We have been meeting with partner groups in regards to the 2014-2015 budget, and we continue to do so. We have asked for time on the 1st of April to give a opportunity for the board to have a further discussion regarding the budget. It is compressed. We're hoping that somewhere around between the 20th and the 25th of April, we have some type of consultation completed so that we can start the HR process. So that's where we are right now.
Questions, comments on that? Next item is board business, the Cumberland land swap.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your package on page 19, 20, and 21 is a briefing note on an update on the Cumberland land swap. As the board's aware, we've been working with the Village of Cumberland to effect a swap and land closure, or road closure, working to close the Ulverston Road between the two schools, and exchange, we would provide them with some land. If you look on page 21, there is a map, and you can see in the middle of the land is the closed road. So you can see where we'd be closing that. And then down at the bottom, there's a proposed lot 2. That would be the land that we would provide in exchange for the area of road being closed. Lots going on here. We have to close the road. We have to subdivide off the proposed lot 2. We have to consolidate all of the other lands. We also need to survey and affix the statutory right-of-ways for sewer, water, and utilities that would remain on our property, and so that work is progressing well. Just a note for you, I attended the village meeting last night, and they did approve the agreement that would cause this to go forward. The one adjustment that they asked for is from the beginning they had indicated that they wanted to ensure that there was a pedestrian walkway on the site from the left side, Ulverston Avenue, to the right side, First Avenue. That will be accommodated inside the design. So discussions this morning with the village, we're likely looking at having the pedestrian restricted covenant for their walkway over top of the utilities statutory right-of-way, and we'll just pile them on top of each other. And what they're interested in is to ensure that any future owners of the land are required to provide access for the community through the site. Perfectly reasonable request. On page 20, on the top, just a brief note, just to confirm that we have purchased the Cumberland Medical Clinic. Our total offer was $427,500. That has been approved and is now our site. One of the changes since our preliminary plan was we had talked to the board about demolishing the medical clinic and turning that into a parking area. After our comprehensive review of how we could lay the site out and use it, it was determined that the better solution was actually to retain it and bring it back to life. So we're actually looking now at having a learning campus that would have 3 buildings on it, the elementary, the junior, and then the medical clinic would also be incorporated into that. Medical clinic is actually a really nice design and size. We're going to have 2 very nice traditional classrooms with some open space for team-based project and meeting rooms in the back. So, and then up above, room for community groups, other agencies that might need to be meeting with our students. They'll have meeting space up there as well. A brief on the bottom of page 20 just indicate that the community consultation continues, and they will be, I believe there's an upcoming meeting shortly, and from the council's approval of the agreement, that will now trigger the community consultation on the road closure. So there'll be lots of discussions going on in Cumberland over the next 2 months around the road closure and the strategy for the Learning Center. All positive, and hopefully by the June board meeting, we will be passing our property disposition, acquisition, statutory right-of-way, restricted covenant bylaw. So we will do our bylaw following the village's closed process being complete on the road closure. That's my report, Mr. Chairman. I'm happy to answer any questions.
That's okay.
So it goes to the fact that we're now going to retain the building and not demolish it and keep it to that one. Cost factor, how is that going to work within that budget? Is that within the budget that we already budgeted for that? So I'm just wondering how that's working.
Yeah, or the preliminary estimates on the cost to bring it back to life versus demolish it are about the same. So rather than spending money to demolition the building, we'll just bring it back to life. And we'll be using most of the forces for doing that.
And did you want to point out the stuff at the back?
Sure. In the back, for anybody that's interested on that back table, is the master plan for the whole complex site development. The one that has just a little bit of development on it is what we're attempting to do this summer. So we have limited resources from the board to start this initiative, and we think that we will be able to create the common area between the 2 schools, so no vehicles. The play area will be moved up onto the road so that the supervision is easy. We'll be looking at demolishing the music portable and the other 2 old end-of-life portables on Cumberland Dale, and of course that space would be substituted with the space available in the medical clinic. And then also looking to ensure that we have some greenery and some shrubs planted to start to create that atmosphere, that it's not just a closed road but still looks like a road. So over time we'll be working on that. We're viewing that more as sort of the 5,000-foot master plan, and as we start to take off components of it, the design might look a little different, but that's a pretty good representation of what it is we'll try to achieve. We will be providing a copy of that to the village as well, so that when they're having their community consultation on the road closure, they'll have a nice graphic of what we're intending to do.
I was a bit worried in some of the website material to see that it was being discussed as the Cumberland K-9 Learning Center campus, and I thought that was really narrowing it. But now I can see that you're referring it just as a learning campus, and with some of the potential for older students and adult ed and things like that already being considered. I'm really happy to see that, because of course K-9 is the current focus, but we want to keep those possibilities open, and it's a great project.
Anything further? Okay, thank you. And then the G.P. Vanier Secondary School seismic update.
Thank you. Just a brief update for the board in your package on page 22. Mr. Hesselgrave and myself had an opportunity to drive to Victoria to continue to meet with the ministry folks on the seismic upgrade in Vanier. That was on March 5th. We will be heading down again, we believe, on April 16th to continue our discussions. And we are working with them to find a good solution for the school so that we can deal with it once and not have to come back in a few years and do other modernizations. And as that discussion continues to evolve, we'll certainly come back and report to the board on both cost and strategy and timeline.
Any comments, questions on that? Okay, thank you. Oh, the next item is the policy statement that we've been working on long and hard. There is a briefing note on page 23 and a recommendation that the board replace the existing policy 1000, the old one, with the new one that we've been working on, which the old policy, I beg your pardon, the new policy is 2425.
With the recommendation.
Thank you. Any more discussion of that? Okay.
I'm actually really pleased with the many hours we spent in this room having those conversations, because this new policy, I think, reflects the vision of this board district, especially with the 21st century learning and community education, and the engagement part of the community, and that too is very important. So I'm really glad to see that this has been come about. It's kind of the new way of consulting and moving forward, and I like that. And as many hours we spent here, it's really exciting.
Okay. Any other comments? All those in favor? Thank you. The district logo issue that's been around for
Sure. Well, it's only fitting after the some discussion. It's only fitting that with the new mission and vision that we now bring this forward and look at the logo and branding, etc. And the recommendation is that the establishment of an ad hoc committee to explore the district branding, logo development, and promotion of the new mission, vision, and guiding principles. So that.
I'll move to recommendation.
Trustee Caden.
Second.
Trustee Weber. Any discussion, commentary on that?
One logo would be really nice. We've got trees and that, and I think that conversations we could have, and that's what the timing is perfect. So looking forward to see what develops.
Anything further? Yes, Trustee Weber.
Just a sense of turnaround time. Is a 5-year project or 5 months?
I think sooner rather than later. Is what I would.
think the discussions had something about the June board meeting.
Yes, yeah.
Something like
I
that.
think that's the,
Okay.
So just for clarification, under the procedure bylaws, once the ad hoc committee is created, then the chair would appoint trustee members to it.
Can we have a determination, what is the trustee numbers that you're looking for, considering the number of other committees that we have going on so far?
Well, minimum is 2. The maximum is 3, so we don't
Between 2 and 3.
Okay, now we got the arithmetic out of the way.
So
I think it's two
perhaps the,
trustees and one senior manager that we're working on it. Am I correct when we had that conversation? 2 trustees and one senior manager.
Yes, yeah, I think that's
so perhaps the chair will send out a note inquiring into interest, and we'll take it from there.
I will. I'll take that as a direction. All those in favor of the recommendation? Okay. And the open student problem.
Thank you. Just an update for you. As the board's aware, we were one of the 5 school jurisdictions working with Saanich to develop a new student information system. This program is called Open Student. We were actually piloting the program in some of our schools, and we had staff that were committing time and energy into providing them feedback on their committees, and we were very, very pleased with how the program was developing, and felt that they were on track to deliver the project on the timeline that they had expected. Saanich recently received information from the ministry advising them that they had to link their new program into the BC service card, so your medical services card. And the province is looking to move where that becomes your key card for your driver's license and your medical and everything. And that cost was going to be in the millions of dollars to take the program and convert it over to this new program. So unfortunately, the Saanich School District had to discontinue development of the program. They are now unable to move forward. They don't have the financial resources to put that kind of money into the development. I think everybody that was a part of it is exceptionally disappointed. We had numerous presentations, numerous staff working on it, and we're exceptionally pleased with the way it was going. We thought their development strategy was top-notch, had the potential of costing the province $7 a student versus the $20 a student that the new student information system will cost. So for the board's information, we did not send money to invest in the development of this program. We had talked earlier that we would have a review, and at some point we would confirm with you when we felt it was time to invest. So we were the partner that hadn't invested yet. There were about 5 of us doing that. So you know, the project is no longer proceeding. We will be reviewing our options, which appears to be one, and that's the
It isn't at all.
program that the Ministry of Education has contracted, and we will be in the months to come thinking about deployment of that new program.
So the only thing that I have to say is you had the Ministry of Education talking to boards about shared services, being invented and finding things that work. And when the school district found something that worked, they squashed it. And it's very disappointing how they did that. And I'm sad to see that relationship and that partnership they encourage districts to have did not work. And on this board, and I talked to our Saanich colleagues this past weekend, and as our branch is writing a letter of support, that it's very disappointing. And I'm sad to see that boards weren't allowed to create that initiative on their own.
Yeah, I echo those remarks, because we clearly hear about supporting made in BC products and supporting local initiatives and issues, but yet the Minister of Education is now going internationally, going to the United States for a program that's going to be basically an American program, and they're going to try and fit it into the BC curriculum. I'm particularly annoyed with the whole process. And I thought first student was the right answer. And I thought Saanich did a wonderful job, and I know they're very disappointed that they had to shelve it. But the provincial government in this case just pushed the issue so that they couldn't carry on.
Yeah, I think it's a bad mistake myself. Question or comment?
Well, I'm not just sad, I'm pretty outraged that they've done this. And I think that, this was a non-profit consortium of school educators in BC, and so that as the program had additional buy-in, there would be opportunity for those funds to go back into school districts. And it also puts it in a status where it has a special consideration in terms of trade agreements that would otherwise say that we can't discriminate in terms of it being nonprofit. It is okay to give preference to a BC. And I'm really upset and quite concerned that this requirement that it link to other personal identification information that gives access to an American-based company for all of our children's personal information and their education records. Given the state of privacy and control over this has got to be a big concern. And I would bet that the additional cost of developing that linkage will not be coming out of the existing contract terms with this company that they've already contracted with, but the government will end up providing the funding for that additional development cost, because that's the way they work, and they ought to be providing that additional development cost. If that's what they want to happen, they should have been giving it to Saanich as part of the package. So I would actually like our board to write a letter telling the minister that we are not happy with the sale of our children's personal information to the United States in terms of this agreement that they're making, and the lack of support for a BC-based, education-based program.
The proposal is that we ask the Secretary Treasurer to write a letter expressing our concern.
I would not be comfortable with the first part of that, because we don't know that's the answer. But I would be comfortable with the second part, the impact in the Saanich, supporting the Saanich School District and the impact this has had and going outside. So I'm comfortable with the second part of the
I'm
motion.
speculating.
I'm not comfortable with the first part. So I support the letter and took away the first part.
Okay, good.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
Do we have a seconder with an understanding of the limits of the motion?
Correct.
Second.
Trustee Weber? Any further comment, questions?
Just CCL, BCSG, just a good, go to
We'll see a draft letter anyway. Trustee Brennan?
Yeah. The other thing is Vista is making some representation regarding this. Those that were there on Saturday, so there is a subsequent letter coming from Vista. So it's not outside the range. Hearing it enough times make the minister might wake up. Sorry, didn't say that.
But I think as a board that was in partnership looking forward to it, we can lend our support to what's happened to Saanich. I think that's a very valid point that Sheila has mentioned. That is, we were looking forward to. There's some really good things about it, and the ministry talked about shared services, innovation boards finding ways to do things, and when they did find something that would work, then they got the plug pulled on them. So I agree with the letter in that context.
It's going to double or more. It's going to double our costs going forward.
More than.
For what? A less adaptable system.
Secretary Treasurer, do you have the gist of the letter here or in the notes? Anybody further comment on that motion? No? All in favor? Okay. Okay. Brings us to the end of the formal agenda.
Here. I have one point. Could I add a comment which comes out of the fact that we approved the consent agenda? And I never really realized when we do that we received a really great emergency preparedness report from Paul Berry, who's done a brilliant job of doing it, and we just receive it,
I
and we
did
don't
give him a
recognize
look,
it, and we don't thank him for doing such a great job on behalf of the district,
Yeah.
and for all the work that our other staff are doing in training and all the rest of it. We've come a long way from having no real planning, and something which actually lots of parents had a role in the last board in bringing forward, and the appointment and the support that the board and senior management gave in putting Paul in there. I think it's really significant. And we just go, yeah, it's all just drifting past. And I would like to give Paul the recognition and the thanks and appreciation as a district for getting our act together in something really important.
I should have done that. That's my mistake. I did look at him because I was waiting for something to say.
Well, you have me waiting to have questions for it, right? It's so
I'm
good
sorry
to come.
about that.
But
We will communicate through
Yeah,
the
absolutely, we will,
superintendent
yeah.
that we
I'm a
regret
card.
we didn't acknowledge his presence.
Yeah, and I
Thank you.
mine as well.
Question period. The press gets the first go normally. Thank you. Nothing else? Okay. Thank you.
Quick question.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure, I've never been to a school board meeting before, so I'm not quite sure how it goes. Some of you probably know my name because I've been writing emails last week. My name is Jordan Cooper. I have a son in Arden Elementary in grade 3. And I just found out today from Sherry Elwood, although it's taken a while, I have to get a little bit angry with my emails to get a response, that the schools, my son has 3 teachers, he's in grade 3. 2 of them are administrators. One is Jeff Manning, one is Mr. Walters, and then there's just solely a teacher, Sarah Kerr, who teaches. So she teaches 1 day a week, Jeff teaches 3/4 of the day, and Lucinda teaches 3¼ days. Now, I questioned, is there a limit to the number of teachers which a class can have? And apparently there is not. My understanding is that kids of this age thrive on structure and routine, which there has been none of in this class. There has been many, due to the structure having a principal and vice principal, when Jeff Manning's gone, Lucinda has to cover. If Jeff Manning's teaching day and Lucinda's gone, Jeff still has to cover. So it's left with my son's class with countless number of days of TOCs. So I am not in the least bit happy about this. I also asked if there's a minimum number of days where a teacher actually has to teach that class, or a percentage, a max requirement where they need to be there, and she replied no, which I find odd that teachers can just, take off time whenever they want, regardless of medical leave, regardless of, in the case of Jeff Manning, took off time to go to the Super Bowl and his football games which left. And listen, this is my kid.
I don't
It's
disagree.
ridiculous that this is allowed to happen. How would you feel if your kid,
But you've already
grade
been,
3, has pretty much been shot because there's no structure?
but
It's-
you've already been in communication
Yes,
with the
I have.
superintendent. Yeah.
Yes, and she told me that the staff at the schools make up the class structure. Well, shouldn't there be some sort of policy that says there's only a maximum number of 2 teachers, and there should not be 2 of them that are administrators in that class? To me, it seems like a recipe for disaster, which it has been. And I'm worried about my son and everybody in his class going into the next year being at a complete disadvantage. It doesn't seem like anybody really wanted to answer any of my questions. And I don't understand how this can happen.
Well, if you've already discussed this with the superintendent, I'm not sure that there's anything further that we can do.
So
Certainly
that's-
not in a public meeting. That's probably not a good place to do it.
Okay, well, is there some way that we can make some sort of policies in regards to numbers of teachers which a classroom is allowed to have, and numbers of days that are allowed for a staff member to be gone?
Well, we could certainly consider that, but we'd have to do so in consultation with the
Okay.
superintendent.
That's fine.
Okay.
But she just sort of,
Yeah.
everybody seems to be brushing me off.
Okay, thank you. Anything further?
Motion to adjourn.
No?
I have a question here, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Trustee McDonald.
I just feel, listen to this story, I mean, it is true, a public meeting is not a real place to handle individual, but our district does have a process of consultation with the superintendent, and there are a full range of vehicles for parents who might want to get further information, and there is an appeal process, and I would like one of our senior managements to be in touch with this parent and go through the full range of what that process looks like and the type of support, and look at ways in which the resolution for her own situation might be brought forward, okay? So that we can be confident that this does get dealt with.
Yeah, we do have an appeals bylaw,
Yes.
so we'll refer
Okay.
that to Assistant Superintendent.
Yeah, that would be great, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks.
yeah.
We have a motion to adjourn. And the seconder? No, we don't have a seconder. Yes, we do.
Second it. You just leave.
All in favor? Thank you.